Hello, dear ones. I am Maria Eleonora Magdalena, and this is the Awakening Path Show, the Starseed Awakening Show. This is the place where you come to expand your consciousness. And today I have someone that's very special to my heart. I have learned so much with him. I met him about 2 years ago on the Conscious Life Expo. And guess what? He helped me release a trauma from my childhood that I didn't even knew that I had it. And he's always evolving. He's always coming up with more creative ways to help people to learn to help themselves, to connect more with their true self. Please welcome Happy Ali.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So today, many people already know Happy. He is all over social media. And if you want to know more about him, we have his first interview. The link is in the description of this video. So today, Happy, can you just tell briefly who you are, how you end up in this spiritual community, kind of on the forefront of the spiritual awakening?
Well, I kind of dived into it got into it on accident. I had a near-death experience when I was 17, and I was downloaded a lot of information at that time, and I didn't really understand what was going on, but I understood like the oneness of the world, and I understood the purpose of the soul, and that we are here to experience a very limited um fun experience, and there's reincarnation and everything's energy first. So that kind of like happened to me on accident, I would say. I wasn't really spiritual before, and then years later, as after I stopped writing everything, I started um studying other people's teachings. I studied the Kabbalah for about 8 years, and studied so many other things, anything I could get my hands on. And finally, I discovered Esther Hicks and the law of attraction, and her teachings, Abraham Hicks, was almost exactly like my downloads from when I was 17. Now, this is like decades later, or a decade later, I guess. 17, I was 20 something, yeah, 10 years later. And so all of a sudden something clicked. I was like, wait a minute. Okay. And I always knew I was meant to teach, but everyone said, you're not, you're a kid. Who's going to listen to you? Are you going to do it? And we didn't have the technology we have today. So I'm so jealous of the young people who are getting these downloads now that are fresh and new and getting all this information, and they can just post it on social media. Because back then it would have been amazing, because the stuff that I wrote back then are like, it's just interesting how we're born when we're born, we choose when we come in, and it's for a reason, and everything happens for a reason, and our souls choose our you know, place of birth, time of birth, when we want to enter. So I guess this is when I was supposed to come in. But my spirituality has just been something that's just instilled in me. I can't say I have I that I don't like being like elevated, like someone saying, "Oh, you're so good." So I just believe that we're all just one and equal, and on different place of our lives. And that to me is like just feeling that oneness with the universe, and knowing that we're all equal and one, and trying to have, I don't know, I just feel things, and I get downloads. I have prophetic dreams. I dream things in advance. I have so much. My story is long. You guys can go check it out. Let's talk about whatever we want to talk about today. There is so much, but
Yes.
I've written um three well, almost completed my third book. I've written The Charisma Within about inner confidence, and I wrote the Intuition Bible, and how and why to tap into your inner wisdom, which is for anybody who wants to really learn how to go within because there's too much noise outside.
Save a little bit of the Intuition Bible because I'm gonna bring in the screen and I like you to explain a little bit more because that's one of my passions, even though you're the writer.
Well, that book was kind of downloaded to me. I was writing another book and then I just didn't feel it, and then I asked the universe for um what the world needed to hear now or something that I could leave behind after I die. And
They really answer your request.
no, I just woke up with the entire book in my head, and then it found its own publisher, a wonderful publisher, and then I had all of a sudden I had this team working for me, which was not the case for my first book because I was really young during my first book, and then it was just things just kind of just exploded, and it was just easy, and it was like law of least effort. That's what I really
Yeah.
believe. Like when the universe is on your side, things just work out. And when your
Yes.
universe is not on your side, you get all these like roadblocks. So I just decided to
So
just ditch my old idea and just go with it. And then, but it was really about, really about tapping into your inner wisdom.
we are
Okay.
talking about this one,
Yes.
this beautiful Intuition Bible book.
Yes.
Actually, I'm selling this book at the expos that I go.
Oh, I love you for that.
I love you for a lot of reasons. I know you love me for many reasons too.
Too, of course.
And I'd like to talk about something that you said. The reason why I bring people here, that's I call them Awakened Starseeds. But the first interview, I always ask them to tell their story. So you that is watching, you realize that in one point in time, each one of us that are awakened or in the process of being awake, we also went through all the problems, all the challenges that you are facing at this moment. And
And we
so
still
many
are
of
going
you,
through it. We're still going through it.
exactly. But you said you don't like to be elevated. And I kind of resonate with that too, because I was that type of person that when you say, "Oh, you look beautiful," instead of say thank you, I look for something on the person to say, "Oh, you are beautiful too. Your hair is," and I think that is okay too. But
I mean, that's more like not really being able to receive as a human being, like
yes,
really receiving. That's not what I
but
meant. I kind of meant when I said
oh,
elevated is when
yes, I understand what you meant, and I kind of diverge a little bit what I want to explain. But I had one Akashic Records reading, and my guides told this to me. It's very noble that you want to feel, and you want everybody to understand that you are not better than them, that you feel everybody as value the same. But if you do not accept that you are some steps ahead, that you are ready and you have some gifts that you can embrace now, if you do not accept your light, you're not able to use that light to help others. So some of us, we are already able to embrace more of our light. That doesn't make us more special. It's just give us more responsibility, actually.
well, we're
And at
channels
the same time,
of the
yes,
information. We're the conduits. We're the we're not the ones who creates this information. We're not so special. We're just channels of light. and that's what it is. And so that's all that it is. Like,
There is a book, Jesus, My Autobiography, and he states very clear in this book. Everything that I did, you cannot actually, he reinforced that in his book, but that's in the Bible too. Everything that I did, you can also do. And that's true. Everything, for example, I can channel any beings of love and light at this moment from any dimension. I probably will do in the end. And one day, any one of you can also do it too if you are not already doing. Because the abilities, each one has the ability to fully connect to the unified field of consciousness, connect to source.
right.
So, Happy, would you like to talk a little bit about soul tapping, the soul tapping method before I show you your website?
Yeah, I really just wanted to another time. It's one of those things when I ask a question and then the answer comes. And
Okay.
I really just I have read so much, and there's so many books about the ego and the soul and pure consciousness and all this stuff, and it was so abstract. And I one night I just it's always at the night. I was like, I need to give a lecture, and I was like, what am I giving this lecture on? Because I don't like to repeat myself too much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like to. I like to like add on to my work, not to just go again, do it again, and say it again and again and again. So then I was like, why am I able to release so much negativity when I'm going through stuff? And why don't I have any anxiety and even when life is going bad? And what the heck is going on? So I literally just like went to sleep and I woke up with this like the whole idea of the three sources of the voices in your head, that your inner dialogue is the your master, because we always have inner dialogue. Everyone has inner dialogue. There's always someone talking in your head. You think it's
Mm-hmm.
you, but it's not always from the same source. It is being channeled through you or coming through you, but it's not from the same source. And some people don't know where the sources were coming, and some people are prioritizing the wrong source and making them feel not good in this physical experience. And I realized, and it was just, it was, it's really funny. You say, how did, it's like, it all just pops into your head as like a block of thought. And then you just have to like bring it out. So the whole idea of soul tapping is learning that there is a voice in your head that comes from your soul. And there's a voice in your head that comes from your mind and your trauma and the drama and everything that you're going through in your life, which I call, and the, trauma gets trapped in your body, and I like to call that the coal, COAL. What Santa brings us when we're bad. um, so I like there's our coal, like there's the negative beliefs and all the bad stuff and all the things that people who didn't know what they were talking about taught us, and because the brain came, blank, and everyone kind of just filled it in with whatever they could come up with, whatever they learned, whatever they had known. And then there's also your instinct. Your instinct is there to protect you, and it is like hardwired into you to make sure that you live. It's your fight, flight, and or freeze mode. So there are three sources of voices in your head at all times. And one is coming from your soul, which I call soul tapping, and I'll explain more later. And one is from your like limited mind that is just like a computer program that only knows what it knows, kind of like AI only knows what it knows. It can predict anything outside of what it is. And I like to call that cold tapping just because I loved it rhymed with soul and I loved it. And it made it really easy for me. And then there's your instinct, which I called like your loving parental figure who just wants to take care of you and keep you safe. So,
Safe and happy.
well, safe and alive.
Oh,
I
oh,
wouldn't s-
sorry. We are talking about the
instinct.
physical. Okay, the instinct, not intuition.
No, 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 no. This is very much just your instinct that is it's what animals have.
Yes.
It's literally what animals have. Animals have they either freeze, you know, or they fight, or or they run
Or
away.
they play.
Yeah, that's it. That's all
Yeah.
they got. That's all they do. So we are animals. So there's different parts of our brains that do certain things. But I really wanted to describe how the soul designed the human brain the way that it did or the human experience, because that is really important to understand if you want to grasp what's going on. Y- Because the soul is eternal, it's unconditional, it's full of potential, it has no conditions, it has no limitations. It can see the future, the past, everything. There's no end or beginning. It's infinite. It's the soul basically. It's what God is basically. It's infinite, and in order for it to have an experience where it can transform into even more and learn itself even more and see itself from the other perspectives, and what I would probably consider transformation is the way you do it, but also um, rediscovering unconditional love is a key component, because we are unconditional love, but in this world we are not. So we designed a body that was literally the opposite of what the soul was. It was conditional. It can only see what it can see
Mhm.
and hear what it can hear. It was very limited in its knowledge. It could only see the past and the present. It cannot see the future, or it was very limited. It's programmed. It's it- basically it's designed to have a very confined experience where this is where I end and this is where the world begins, as opposed to I'm one with the world, because you have to have an identity, and that's what people call the ego. And the brain was created like a blank slate, and people just and it was designed to be basically programmed by the people around you, and your subconscious, it basically picks up everything from the first 7 years of your life, and then your adolescence is a huge part of your life, and then you all of a sudden think that this is who you are. And then when the problem with that is that when you try to do something new, or when you try to think ahead, when you try to do something big, coming from that mindset of only what you know, you cannot predict what the unknown and what the greatest, amazing, most wonderful thing that could happen to you is. You can only predict whatever you have seen others do or you do. So, but the soul doesn't do that. The soul knows your potential. The soul knows you can do anything. The soul knows that there's countless ways to get to your destination. The soul knows your potential. And so I really wanted to kind of just separate these three voices and call it soul tapping, cold tapping, and you're like your caregiver. And and the way that you figure out who's talking is the way that you feel. So your body is a perfect translator of energy, letting you know who's talking and if you're in alignment with your soul or not. So whenever you feel yourself feeling good and expanded and feeling like, this is a good idea, you're soul tapping. That's your soul. And you say,
Yes.
okay, I'm going to give that more attention. And then whenever you contract and you freak out and you are like not feeling good, you're cold tapping. And then whenever you're stuck and frozen or you just want to kill someone or punch someone, you're working on instinct. So it's really different to know the three different voices that are going on in your head. But an analogy that I use that I love is if you're learning algebra and there's a professor, here I'm pointing to the soul, trying to teach you algebra, and there's a fifth grader trying to teach you algebra, or your mother, who you don't know even know if she has ever studied or anything, trying to teach you algebra, who would you give more priority to? Who would you prioritize the most? Who would you give more attention to? The professor or the fifth grader or the mother when it comes to learning algebra? And let's say algebra is the lessons of life or living the how to live life.
Means many people would pay attention to the one that speaks louder.
Well,
And
the one
that's
that
the
speaks
biggest
loud,
problem.
the one that speaks louder is always the mind or the one that's trying to protect you because we are here in a physical world. But the soul didn't just abandon us, it came along with us. But the soul comes as inspiration, a whisper, and it's always quieter than the five senses. Because if the soul was louder than the five senses, you might walk into a wall or run into a ditch because you're seeing, like, let's say you're seeing through walls. You can see everything. You would walk through a wall and hurt yourself. So the five senses are the loudest. The mind is the loudest. But is it the most important? That's the question.
I see that all is important,
Very.
but there is moments in life that you need to pay attention more to one to another. And even though sometimes you give more attention to the instinct or to the program, you can use that as a lesson. What I've been realized is working with so many clients, sometimes their soul kind of designs some situations for them to go through purposely, especially with the ones that I'm calling starseeds, because the suffering in their lineage has been like from generations, and they are trapped on that programming, always repeating the same pattern, just working through the mind and the instinct and alternating only on those two. So, and then the black sheep of the family, and wants to do everything in a different way. But guess what? That one is the one that's breaking the pattern.
Right.
And we come here to really liberate the lineage from suffering. But before you can do that, you need to go down to experience by yourself, and then really embody all that energy, or at least part of that energy. so you can liberate it.
Well, I don't know anyone who hasn't had an awakening just because they had to have a really big dramatic experience. And you have to honor the trauma and the drama and all of that stuff in your body. And you have to honor the mother who's trying to take care of you. And so I don't want anyone to think that you're supposed to soul tap all the time. You're supposed to honor every aspect of you. And like if you have a trauma, you're supposed to give it attention and let it come out and see what it has to say and what you learned from it and what you had to do. But you can't make that your identity. Yeah, because I know our identity is we feel like it's our body, but it's not. Our true identity is our consciousness and our soul. And we can say, I always say, step out of the body, look at the emotions you're feeling, see what it has to say, honor it, say thank you. Thank you for the pain. Thank you for whatever you're putting me through. What would you want me to learn from this? Like really, what do you want me to learn? I mean, if you quiet your mind long enough, or if you allow yourself to feel the pain, usually something comes up. And there's so many different people who deal with trauma in so many different ways because some people do it mentally, some people do it somatically, some people do it with using um, plant medicine. So many people do it, but it's really sometimes you have to really go into the darkness to be able to come out on the other side. And people aren't just born enlightened. And maybe some of the kids now might be, but they still need
We are cleared it up for them. They don't have to deal with the trauma of their ancestors because we are clearing up this generation because they supposed to be the ones building the new earth. They have
yeah,
a good
but yeah,
job to ahead too.
yeah, but I feel like suffering is part of the human experience. And then if you can see it from the soul's perspective, you can allow yourself to suffer and not go into the depths of depression. You know,
Yes.
it's we are until we don't have day and night because we are in a world of duality. Duality means dark and light. Duality means good and bad. This earth is created in a world where there's one sun. And there's, sometimes we have the moon that shines a little bit. But we really have one sun. So we always have day and night. There's always day and night. This world, this physical world, this particular physical world, this earth, because there are other planets where they have multiple suns and they are always seeing daylight. They don't have duality the way that we do. But we're talking about our experience on this planet. Whether you're a star seed or not, right now you're stuck on this planet. You're having this experience, but you have to understand that the, the darkness is not your enemy and the coal is not your enemy. And you do have to honor it, but you do have to put it in its place. When you're having a moment, like for example, I'm having a meltdown, I like to say, or like something big is supposed to come and I'm freaking out about it, or because I don't care how spiritual you are, you still do that. If any
Yeah.
spiritual person says that I am like, oh, every day is just perfect, then just
It's not really living.
you should just die and like live in bliss, in a good way. We are supposed to, the growth comes from challenge. Like even our muscles, if you want to grow muscle, you have to like lift heavier weights. It is part of the physical experience. So it's really important to understand that everyone is always going to experience something because, for example, I'm going to talk about loss. You can be the most spiritual person in the world, but you're going to lose all your, like half of your friends are going to die before you. I would say, you're going to lose your parents usually. Um, I lost a child. You know, there's so many things. Death becomes when my friends lost their cats and dogs, and you know, it's very traumatic. The loss is one of those very traumatic experiences, but it's like a window of like, okay, what am I gonna get? Where am I gonna go from here? This is a window where you tap into your soul and say, what's going on? And the soul can say, hey, okay, we're eternal beings. Or it can say, hey, you really needed to learn grief so you can have more compassion for other people. So that next time, you know, I know someone who, like, somebody's like cat died and they were like, oh, it was just a cat. And then they had their own cat that they bonded with for a really long time. And then their cat died and they cried for like 6 months. You know what I mean? And that is what
Yes.
I think part of the human experience is to see things from everyone's perspective and really learn to appreciate the darkness, the light, the everything, and stop judging it and start just appreciating it as part of this beautiful experience, even though sometimes it sucks.
It does. What I love most about Happy, his teachings, the way he present his knowledge is he have a good balance of reason and hoo-hoo. I know people are like, oh, you are too much in hoo-hoo. It's all about spiritualities. Okay, but this needs to make sense. If I just give it to my husband, your book, maybe change the name intuition to something else because he's even this kind about intuition, he'll gonna read and say, huh, this makes sense. And you have a beautiful way to present things that people just learn without getting scared. This makes a lot of sense. It's just so natural.
Well, it's funny you say that because, you know, I had my spiritual awakening when I was 17, but I didn't decide to become the author, the speaker, the coach, the hypnotherapist that I am until after I decided to learn psychology and go to school and learn psychology and how the mind works and how you can improve the brain and how the brain. I had to learn everything, and then I learned neuro linguistic programming, which is NLP, and how the subconscious works because I have to learn both because okay, so there's the light and there's the dark. And if you want to have a good time, you got to live in the gray, in the between, in between.
Yes.
In between, you're having a good time. In the light, you might have a good, really shiny moment, or in the dark, it feels horrible. But if you can learn to embrace the beautiful gray and like learn the balance of the world, I mean, I purposely have my bookshelf in three parts because I believe that we have, you know, left, left, right, and central. This is how
Yeah.
we're designed. We have two eyeballs, right and left, and but what we see is central. We only see one vision. We have two hands. Everyone's got like it's like we're all like right, left, and then together we are one. You know, if we have one arm, we're not going to have the same experience as if we have two arms. And these are just analogies. So you have to kind of embrace them both and stop making the dark the villain and the light the only savior. You are your own savior and
Yeah.
you are a balance of everything because for light to exist, darkness also has to exist. It's just right now in this world, it's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
But I always I like this concept that just came to me is that humans learned to create a light bulb, so when it's nighttime, they can still see. So, so
It's interesting that recently, well, I've been seeing lights in a while, but the last 1 month, I close my eyes and I start to see peoples. I said, let me close my eyes so I can see you. And I see like interesting things. Sometimes I see hearts, and I've seen lots of wings. The last expo that I went to this weekend, every time I would close my eyes, a picture come, heart most of the time. And
that's
then I was glad to get this ring here. I only realized later that's a heart shape. I said, I need this.
that's so
And
cool.
wings, like wings that was shrinked, sometimes inside the head. Wings that were, I saw one that was already open this way, but all the feathers was glue here, was not open. Okay, you forced me to open my wings, but I'm not gonna fly. So it's very interesting. And that's exactly what you said. Now we all have those abilities. When we are ready to embrace them, to release, okay, now I'm ready to see when I close my eyes. And that's what is happening to me. But I think the new kids already have already come with that, because before I will close my eyes, I only see dark. And another day, I think my daughter, she was 10. And then I told her, it's very interesting. Now when I close my eyes, I see lights. But everybody see lights when they close their eyes. And I was like, oh. So the new kids, when they close their eyes, they continue seeing.
Most of the new kids do, it depends. I have two kids, so one of them does, one of them doesn't so much. But I always tell them to squeeze their eyes and look at how much light comes. It's just our joke. Because the other one's like, I can't see, and I'm like, just close your eyes. But some people are naturally clairvoyant and they get to see very easily. And some people are more clairsentient, so they get to feel a lot easier. And some people claircognizance, which they just know stuff. And some people clairalience, which means they can hear stuff. Some people are clairgustance, which means they can taste stuff. I mean, basically, all our senses like all our physical senses have an inner sense. So I'm not one of those people that can see, unless I'm in theta state. Theta state is half between half sleep and half awake. But in case of emergencies, I do have clairvoyance. If I really need to see something, I'm more claircognizant. Like I feel the energy of people. I feel the energy of dead people. I can talk to dead
Mm.
people through my feelings. And then every once in a while, I hear grandpa in my head, in my ear, giving me a little voice, because you know what? Sometimes I'm not there, So I have to, like, part of the intuition Bible was to really address everybody, to say, hey, if just in case you're not seeing, doesn't mean you're not intuitive and you're not part of this tribe moving forward. Um,
That's what I wanted to say. On your book, you describe exactly all the sentience, what each one is. I love that.
yeah, no, because I really wanted anyone and everyone to get something out of the book. Um, and I think the only negative review I had on it was some woman said there was too much information in the book. And I was like, well, it's called the Intuition Bible, so what do you expect? Um,
Well, for most of the people, that is not too much. She could just ignore what she already knew.
I just thought she just said she was overwhelmed by it. She had to read it twice
Um,
or three times. I'm like, are you kidding? I have books on this bookshelf that I cannot even finish. Like, Dolores Cannon's books about all her sessions, and they're the convoluted universe. It's so dense. Or the Seth material from Jane Roberts back in the 60s or 70s. She was one of the like modern channels, and she channeled Seth, who who talked about the how reality works. The Seth books are so dense that I remember I had to like read through them like 10 times, but my book is so not dense. I mean, it for some people it might be, but it's nothing like the Seth books. I mean, the Seth books will blow your mind. Um, or
Wow,
the convoluted universe.
I read all the books of Dolores Cannon, and I think that it was like it's about 20 books. I think about 8 or 9. There was a completely new Eleonora, conscious wise. And then I think I had like 3 jumps until I finished. And some concepts was like, what? And then that's amazing. It's like open a door, and then another. Wow, there is so much a beautiful word here that I never heard about. I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, no, and you can read the same book like 10 times, and then every time you read it, because you're a new person, you see something completely different that you missed. Or if you watch a movie, you hear stuff you never heard before. So I don't, I mean,
Actually,
so that's really just because you're a new person. Every day, every moment, you're a new person.
actually, many of those books, they are, I call them multidimensional books. You read it today, you get something out of it. If you are working yourself, when you read it like 6 months later, your energy, you are able to tap more in higher dimensions. And when you read, you get more of it. So every time you are reading, you see from a different dimension point of view.
And I want to even challenge that and say, even if a book you might not think is a multidimensional book, is a multidimensional book, because you're the perceiver and you are a more multidimensional being.
Yes.
So because you're the perceiver of what you see, and you're multidimensional, you're always going to get something else out of it. You could get it, depending on where you are.
Happy, I would ask you to show your website and explain how people can experience your services. I had 2 big shifts working with you. The first one was the trauma from childhood that I thought it was not a real problem, and I find out it was, and it's gone. Thanks God. Thank you too. And another one was I wanted to be like telepathic. I wanted to be able to just speak. I'm being automatic writings about 6 years. As I want just to speak. And that was so interesting that I had a session with you, and that was the intention that I put. And the same day, a friend that had invited me to try a telepathic session contacted me in that same day. 3 days later, we try, and there was me doing telepathic transmission with her. Like actually, I was connecting with some extraterrestrials, and that has just been evolved and evolved as well.
That's amazing.
So yeah, so Happy has the ability to help you connect with yourself. Would you
Yeah.
like to show your website?
Well, do you have it up, or do you want me to?
Oh, I have it up, and I can
Okay.
show.
But
Okay,
my
before I
website is
do.
happyinsights.net. So it's really simple. Um, but let me just explain what I offer. One is a single session, which is my hypnotherapy session. So this is the 12-week course.
Oh,
Um,
sorry, just
and everything you do, if you go on top, and if you go on the very top, And
Mhm.
there's a there should be a thing on in the white area on the very top above
Oh,
it.
it's because
It's
we are right on the,
no,
our pictures are in the top.
it's right there. It says book a free session with Happy now.
Oh, I
You
see, in
see
the
it?
very top.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
I
just book a
see.
free 30-minute session with me and we figure out what's right for you. And it
Yeah,
takes you to the calendar and then you see what's available and then
beautiful.
you book it. So here's the thing, but here's what I offer. I just want to let you know in advance. You can take it down and I'll tell people what it
Okay.
is. One is called is a single session. It's a one time session. And it's the one that, I include that in my 12-week session as well, but people can have that as a standalone. And it's called intuition activation, inner self activation, hypnotherapy session or something like that. Um, and what I do is you come in, you bring me 4 questions. I take you down to meet your highest self through hypnosis. And then I ask you well, not you, your higher self, the question. And then have the higher self give you the answers and then show you what your life would look like if you take your own advice and extract the vibration of that and put it in your body so that you can bring it home with you. And that is one of the most powerful sessions ever.
It
But
is. That's the one I had, I think.
yes, that's the one you had. But that's not what makes my living. It's what I do. I do a 12-week coaching program which is once a week. It comes with a video that you watch on your own. So I don't have to explain everything. It talks about subconscious manifestation and all the stuff that I want you to know so I don't waste my time with you. But we really deal with one place where you're stuck or where you want to grow. And we find, oh, and we break apart each thing each part each week and figure out what's right for you. And there is no, as much as I have tried this, I've tried to have a curriculum where you follow, we're doing this day, this week, and then this one this week. Like it never works out. I have a client who's been a therapist for 30 years and she's on her 11th session. She finished her 11th session. She we had this entire curriculum made for her. We did like three of those. And then the rest was very personalized because each person has their own experience and what they go through. So the point of it is to figure out first where you are, what's bothering you, what's holding you back, and then how might different methods can slowly take you week by week by week by week through homework. You have to do the work to where when you get to the 12th week, you almost feel like you don't need the 12th session because I don't want to keep you longer. And it's really powerful. I've done it on, so many women, mostly women, because women are the ones who are always interested. And I've had 100% success rate. There's no one that's ever finished my course with the problem that they came in with. And the only way I'm willing to have a client come in again is if it's for a tune up and I'll charge them for one session after, or if they have a new problem somewhere else that they want to work with, something else that they want to work with, and we'd work with that.
That's beautiful.
But you
And
got a link, click on my link. Oh, go to my Instagram
yes,
too. Instagram is Happy Insights Official. So if you go to my
I have
website,
all the links on the description,
okay,
by the
yeah.
way.
And
Instagram, I have
my
everything there.
podcast, everything is in there. My link tree is
Yes.
attached to my link trees attached to my Instagram. It has my podcast. It has we have I have 3 seasons of my podcast. I have so much free stuff out there. But the best thing you can do is just call and set up an appointment, and then we'll see what the right move is for you.
Yes. And all those alternative healing modalities has no side effect. For me is very weird. I have a client that she has been doing, I didn't know they're doing that at this moment, but she has anxiety and the doctor prescribed uh electric shot in her brain.
Well, are they still doing that?
That took me a lot by surprise. Actually, I need to see if she's still alive. They're from the I shouldn't be saying that. Anyway, let's change the subject. So that's really work. There is no side effect. And what happened is we go deep on the problem. So the problem that you had in your body, in all the layers of your body, means spiritual, mental, physical, emotional, we help you heal. But if you don't shift your perception, if you don't let it go of that limited belief, you have to keep thinking all the time. So if you keep thinking the same thing, you recreate that.
Right.
What Happy is really doing, he's helping you look at the problem and shift the perspective about that problem.
Well, and you have to hold people's hands
Yeah.
because people are like slippery fish. So I've noticed like I'm like that. I'm like that. I'm with my finances. Like I have someone always helping me with my finances because as soon as they let me go, it's like I'm like, okay, let's redesign the bathroom. I spend like because I believe in manifestation, everything comes to me easily. I just spend whatever comes my way and I make lots of money and I just spend it carelessly to the point where my mom is like, what are you doing? So I have to have someone do it. And we all have our strengths and we all have our opportunities where we can grow. And when it comes to anxiety, I just want to touch up on that really quick before we wrap up. I want to say, there's doctors that just deal with the symptoms. They give drugs or they do electroshock stuff and all this stuff. But the thing is, every problem has a symptom, which is what you're noticing right now. What you're experiencing is just a symptom. So, a lot of people try to change the symptom or get rid of the symptom. It's like taking Advil if you have a pain, but the pain is coming from somewhere. Where is it coming from? So I always say, let's try to figure out where it comes from without like digging so much into it that you're traumatized, and then figure it out, work through it, and then see how the symptoms begins to change naturally. Because when you change something on the inside, the outside changes
It
automatically.
reflects.
And it's like that. So
Yes.
I work less on the symptoms because I believe you can. That's why I don't like to call myself a healer, because healer, like, I'm going to heal you. But I'm like, did you heal my root cause? Because you might, you know, deal with the outer issues that I had. But if the root cause, if there's a seed in there that wants to come out, even if you cut the branch, a new branch will come out. So it's
Yes.
better to understand what the root cause is and work at it. And for a lot of people, it's life purpose. It's not understanding what their purpose is. It's not having faith. It's not believing in themselves. It's not having faith in themselves. It's not knowing who they are, what their, who their identity is. There's so many people have so many issues, but it's always related to similar stuff. And then it's
Yeah.
most of the problems come from your childhood as well, too. So, but we can have that conversation when you call me.
Yes. So, would you like a departure message? It's 5 minutes away, and I know your kids are waiting for you.
Okay, so The only message I have is that if you feel like you're stuck in your life, or if you feel like you want to be somewhere else, uh, don't allow your current mind state to hold you back. The things that you think you know are just this much of what reality is. And when you learn to tap into your inner voice and inner sources and all these beautiful angelic beings and God knows how many non-physical energetic forces that are behind you and holding you up all the time, then you can come up with better ideas and better resources. And as long as you have a dream and you have a vision and you don't look in the past, you can find a way to the future, and don't try to do it alone, because most people, especially in this world of independence that we have, and especially in current modern times, people are like, if I don't do it myself, if I don't do it alone, then I'm weak. I'm like, no, and for eons, people always had an apprentice and a teacher, a master, and that's how people learned, and that's how they learned, and they learned, and that you always support. We're not here as isolated individuals. We're here as a collective, and it's good to tap into the collective, whether you pay money for it or whether you don't. It's good to tap into the collective, because that's where the answer is. We are meant to be a social group of people, not these individual people sitting at home working on our computers and trying to solve our problems and worrying about the future and thinking about our debt or whatever it is, or our lives or our husbands or whatever it is. There's always a solution. You have to be the decision maker that decides, okay, when am I sick of this? And if I don't do anything about this, how will I feel about this on my deathbed? And that's it. That's all I got to say.
Beautifully said. And I like to speak to you. You probably, if you are here all the way to the end, I think some things already happening to you that you're not speaking to most of the people that you know, because you're afraid that they think you are weird, or you don't even yourself don't understand what's going on. What to do about? I suggest that you visit an expo. There is many, you are blessed. There's so many expos over here in Southern California. And I started to participate on them. I had one last week, and I will go in another one August 1st and 2nd. And August 14 and 15, I will be at Buena Park, and Happy will come to sign his book, The Intuition Bible, on. You said you prefer the 15, right? I think he'll be on the 15.
Whatever I
So,
said in the text.
yes. So just go and visit. Look for one close to you. There is another in Irvine this weekend. I'm not going to be enjoying this one, but you can. And there is a place where you can look for people like-minded that are going through similar experience. Not only the people working there, the vendors, but other people that are visiting too. So we are stronger together. If you are feeling weird, or you're afraid that you're going to tell your mom what's going on and she think you are weird, go join other people that are weird too, and then you're gonna realize, oh, so let's be weird together. And it's so much fun. Happy. Thank you,
Thank you
thank you,
so much.
thank you.
Thanks
I
for having
love
me.
you.
Love you back.
And see you next
Soon.
time.
Take care.
Just remember, everyone, that every Tuesday at 7 p.m., I am here with a guest. And every third Tuesday of the month, I'm gonna take requests, live requests for healing. Of course, I'm just a channel, and I'm with Joseph Michael to help address those requests. We are just a channel because we just help you to embrace the light, to change your perspective about whatever you are facing that you do not understand, and learn how to heal yourself. So see you next Tuesday.
Bye bye. Take care. Have a good one. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I have to run. I have to go to the bathroom. The last 20 minutes I've had to go